Stormfang points at the two hulking rhinos standing in the doorway, their thick hides steaming in the cavern heat.
These are the twin rhinos, Night Warden and Ash Tempest. I paid to free them, broke the chains that the spotted leopards had bound them with. They swore loyalty to me for life. They answer to no one but me. I could order them to leap into the flames, and they would obey without hesitation.
He gestures to the pack of hyenas slinking behind the rhinos, eyes glinting and teeth bared.
Dolls, hyenas are my kin, my blood. I planned this for years with them. Ever since my parents fell beneath the claws of your father and the father of Specter Fang.
Stormfang's face hardens. Hate sharpens his voice.
I have waited more than 5 years for this moment. The moment my hand reaches into your chest and draws out your heart.
A cold laugh slips from him, half exultation, half madness.
Will eat your heart alive. I wonder what it will taste like. I imagine it will be exquisite.
Obsidian Claw remains eerily composed on the stone bed, pain and fury coiled beneath his stillness.
Killing of your parents was the doing of my sire. Why do you blame me? Why pour your vengeance onto my head?
Stormfang shouts, voice rolling like thunder through the chamber.
All lions and tigers must perish. Today you will be reunited with your parents.
Do you truly think 2 rhinos and a band of hyenas can kill me?
Stormfang smiles, a predator's smile that never reaches his eyes.
You are the fiercest, I know. But with Night Warden and Ash Tempest at my side, your strength will mean nothing in the situation I've prepared.
The rhinos shift their weight. The hyenas chuckle and close ranks. The air tightens, every sound reduced to the scuff of hooves, the scrape of claws, the slow creak of stone. Stormfang steps forward, reveling in the shortening distance between vengeance and fulfillment. Obsidian Claw, alone on the bed, measures his options even as pain flames through him. The trap is sprung. The hunt becomes a trial of survival. Obsidian Claw roars.
Undermaw, kill Stormfang!
Stormfang spins toward the cave's entrance, startled. Seizing the moment, Obsidian Claw leaps from the stone bed and drives his fist straight toward Stormfang's skull. A strike meant to end years of hatred once and for all. But faster than a thunderbolt, Night Warden lunges forward. The twin rhino yanks Stormfang backward just as Obsidian Claw's punch slices through the air, missing its mark by inches. Night Warden's massive fist counters instantly, clashing against Obsidian Claws with a sound like colliding boulders. Both beasts stagger back, their forearms trembling from the shockwave. Night Warden snarls, lowers his horn. Then, with a thunderous roar, he charges. The cave trembles as tiger and rhino collide. Claws flash, fists hammer, roars echo through the stone walls. Dust fills the air. Sparks fly each time bone meets bone. Outside the ring of chaos, Ash Tempest watches in silence, studying the tiger's strength, while the hyenas, Stormfang's kin, circle and howl, eager yet hesitant. Despite the wounds covering his body, Obsidian Claw moves like lightning. Every strike is precise, every dodge graceful. Rhino might against feline speed. The battle rages for over 100 exchanges, and neither side yields an inch. Then Steel Revenant, the most muscular and ruthless of the hyenas, snarls in disgust.
To let a wounded tiger stand against a rhino this long! Disgraceful!
With fury in his eyes, he leaps into the fray as Obsidian Claw launches a crushing punch toward Night Warden. The rhino narrowly steps aside, and Steel Revenant strikes, diving between them. His fist aims straight for the tiger's chest. Now, it is no longer a duel. It is one tiger against two beasts, the rhino and the hyena. A storm of strength and rage shaking the cavern to its core. Obsidian Claw is losing ground against Night Warden and Steel Revenant. Both of them can clearly see his weakening stance. Steel Revenant, burning with pride and greed for glory, wants the final blow for himself. He imagines the fame he will earn, a hyena who single-handedly kills a tiger, a legend that will echo across the wilds. Grinning in arrogance, Steel Revenant leaps ahead of Night Warden and unleashes a devastating punch aimed straight at Obsidian Claw's face. The air cracks with force, but just as the punch is about to land, Obsidian Claw's paw shoots up, clamping tightly around Steel Revenant's fist. Steel Revenant's eyes widen in shock. How can he move that fast? Just seconds ago, the tiger looks beaten, nearly broken. Then realization strikes. It's all a ruse. Obsidian Claw has been feigning weakness, waiting for the perfect opening. In a flash, Obsidian Claw drives a thunderous punch into Steel Revenant's chest. The impact sends the massive hyena flying backward more than 5 meters, crashing into the cavern wall. Steel Revenant glares up at Obsidian Claw, defiant even in defeat, before coughing up a torrent of blood and collapsing lifelessly to the ground. Fang freezes. The two Rhino brothers, Night Warden and Ash Tempest, remain expressionless, their eyes cold and calculating. But the other hyenas panic, terror spreading like wildfire. The strongest among them lies dead. Obsidian Claw seizes the moment. He charges straight towards Fang. Ash Tempest rushes forward, dragging Fang back to safety. But that's exactly what Obsidian Claw intends. His true goal isn't Fang, but the narrow gap left open near the cave entrance. When Ash Tempest moves, Obsidian Claw bolts toward it. The hyenas scramble to block his way, but Obsidian Claw lets out a thunderous roar that tears through the cavern like a storm. The sound shakes the air and the ground alike. Terrified, the hyenas scatter to the sides. Obsidian Claw bursts through the entrance and vanishes into the wild night, leaving chaos and fear in his wake. When Fang sees Obsidian Claw escaping from the cave entrance, fury blazes in his eyes. The trap he has set is flawless, with no gaps, no weaknesses. Yet Obsidian Claw manages to slip away through cunning alone.
Obsidian Claw is wounded. He can't run far. We must chase him down. Night Warden and Ash Tempest, go after him. Don't come back until you bring me his head. The rest of you, hunt him down and tear him apart.
Night Warden and Ash Tempest nod and sprint out of the cave. The pack of hyenas follows, their snarls echoing through the rocky valley. And so, the chase begins. Obsidian Claw runs as fast as his battered body allows. After a short distance, he glances back. Clouds of dust rise behind him, proof that the pursuit is relentless. His injuries slow him down. Blood drips from his side. He lifts his head toward the sky and growls in frustration.
I once stood equal to Specter Fang in power. Every creature feared my name. But now I'm the one being hunted by these lowly beasts. How can I ever face my ancestors again?
The gap between Fang's pack and Obsidian Claw narrows. Only a few meters remain. Suddenly, Ash Tempest accelerates and leaps over Obsidian Claw's head in a spectacular motion. When he lands, the ground trembles beneath his massive feet. In a swift, almost impossible movement, he pivots sharply to face Obsidian Claw. Now, Obsidian Claw finds himself surrounded, enemies both ahead and behind. Cornered like a wild beast, he realizes there's no way forward or back. His only choice is to fight. Obsidian Claw charges and throws a powerful punch toward Ash Tempest. The rhinoceros mistakes it for a feint, a desperate distraction, and merely steps back slightly, choosing not to dodge. But the punch is real. It lands squarely on Ash Tempest's chest with a thunderous crack. The The beast stumbles backward a few steps, his thick hide rippling from the impact, but he does not fall. He snorts, eyes burning with rage. Their battle ignites, a clash of brute strength against desperate agility. Ash Tempest swings his massive arms like hammers, each blow shaking the ground. Obsidian Claw ducks, rolls, and counters with lightning-quick strikes, his claws slicing through the air. Sparks fly as claws meet horn, and the sound of flesh striking armor echoes across the lava plains. Ash Tempest charges forward, lowering his head to use his horns as weapons. Obsidian Claw sidesteps, but not fast enough. One horn grazes his shoulder, tearing through fur and flesh. The tiger roars in pain but retaliates instantly with a savage kick to Ash Tempest's knee. The giant stumbles but refuses to go down. Night Warden watches from behind, frustration boiling within him. His immense size prevents him from joining the fight in the narrow, rocky terrain. He growls deeply, scraping the ground with his hooves, forced to stand by while his brother fights alone. The hyenas circle around them, eyes glinting in the firelight. They do not dare attack. They wait, waiting for Obsidian Claw to slip, to bleed, to fall. It is in their nature to strike only when the prey is weakest. The battle reaches its peak. Neither warrior gives in. Dust and ash swirl around them as their roars shake the air. Then Ash Tempest lowers his head and charges full force, aiming a brutal headbutt meant to crush Obsidian Claw once and for all. But at the last second, Obsidian Claw leaps high into the air, soaring over the massive rhino's back. Ash Tempest's horn slams into the ground, cracking the stone beneath. Night Warden, who has been watching every move, reacts instantly. He leaps too, astonishingly fast for his massive frame, and clears his brother's back, continuing the chase after the fleeing Obsidian Claw. Obsidian Claw runs for his life, his breath ragged, his steps heavy with exhaustion. Behind him, Night Warden closes in, fast, his massive frame pounding the ground like thunder. Ash Tempest turns back, commanding the hyenas to continue the pursuit. The chase roars across the wasteland. Obsidian Claw suddenly freezes in horror. Ahead of him yawns a bottomless abyss, hundreds of feet deep. His eyes widen, terror flickering in them. He mutters to himself, voice trembling.
Is this where my life ends?
Night Warden, Ash Tempest, and the pack of hyenas arrive at the cliff's edge. They grin darkly as they realize Obsidian Claw has nowhere to run. From behind, Fang approaches, each step slow, deliberate, echoing in the silence. To Obsidian Claw, every footstep sounds like the ticking of a countdown to his death. Fang's voice cuts through the air, cold, venomous, and cruel.
Your end has come, Obsidian Claw. Everything ends here. You have two choices. Jump and end it yourself, or fight the twin brothers, Night Warden and Ash Tempest. They'll crush your body, and I'll feast on your heart as promised. Either way, you die.
He laughs, a deep, twisted laugh that fills the canyon with malice. Cornered, Obsidian Claw's primal instincts take over. With a feral roar, he leaps forward, swinging a mighty punch toward Ash Tempest. Ash Tempest meets him head-on, his own fist striking back. The two blows collide, both chests shudder from impact. They stagger backward, snarling. Before Obsidian Claw can recover, Night Warden charges, slamming his horned head into the tiger's wounded ribs. The brutal hit sends Obsidian Claw flying, his body crashing hard into the rocky ground. Ash Tempest and Night Warden advance, twin titans moving in perfect synchronization. The battle erupts. Obsidian Claw fights with everything he has, claws slashing, roars echoing, eyes burning with defiance. He blocks Ash Tempest's strikes, dodges Night Warden's horns, and counters with blistering speed. But his injuries slow him. Each movement bleeds pain. Ash Tempest stomps the ground, shaking dust and stones loose, while Night Warden circles, waiting for the right moment. The tiger swings wildly, desperate to create distance, but the twin rhinos trap him in their rhythm, their horns and fists closing in like the jaws of death. Ash Tempest charges again, his massive head ramming Obsidian Claw's chest. The tiger lets out a thunderous roar as his body lifts off the ground and tumbles backward, over the cliff's edge. The roar fades into the abyss, echoing for long seconds before silence returns. Stormfang watches with a sinister smile.
Obsidian Claw is dead. No one survives a fall of 100 feet. Now, we move towards Specter Fang.
The pack bows their heads and follows him. Ash Tempest and Night Warden turn away from the cliff, their faces unreadable, as the group disappears into the mist of the wasteland.